Yo, internet people, viewers, people at their screens. My name is A-Trak.
Armand Van Helden.
Right here. Together we are Duck Sauce. You are tuned into Duck Sauce. We're gonna sit down and talk a little bit about our collaboration. Armand and I would we started running into each other around New York and started hanging out. I remember some of our early conversations was kind of noticing that we were approaching music from a similar perspective, where my whole approach of being a hip hop guy, getting into house music and electronic music and stuff. I think when we first met, Armand was like, "Yo, I see what you're doing," and you've been doing that for 15 years or whatever.
Yeah. But
so,
even before, before the first time I had I think officially when I've kind of heard of you, obviously I'd heard of you in the early DMCs,
yeah.
but I didn't know anything about you.
Yeah.
I just knew that you were a child prodigy of the DMC. And then my friend Amik
right.
goes, we're in this car one time, and we're rolling somewhere, and he's got your disc in of it was crunk, techno.
Yeah, Dirty South Dance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was and he was just like, "Yo, this is A-Trak," and I was like, "Is that the A-Trak that is the DMC?" He didn't know. He's like, "I guess." He's like, "I don't know." He's like, he was up in the office.
Yeah.
He dropped off this disc, and I was like, "Yo, you gotta let me have this disc. This is insane."
That project was kind of a blueprint for some of the songs I started doing with Kid Sister, and even when we started Fool's Gold and the whole mentality of a lot of what we do. That period was when we were kind of laying it out.
Yeah.
And it's, you know what, I remember, and around the same time that we first would start running into each other around New York, I was doing a remix for Digitalism, and around 2007 or so, I was still kind of just starting to flirt with the electronic world a little bit. So I remember being surprised, wow, how these German electro guys, how do they even know who I am, type of thing. And their manager approached me and was he said, "We want a remix from you, and we were thinking you could do kind of a classic hip hop breakbeat thing, a la Armand Van Helden mid-90s." And that was he gave me a clear. I remember I've never gotten such clear guidelines.
Yeah.
Usually it's just here's the parts.
Yeah.
This guy was listen to mid-90s Armand Van Helden. When the first time I came here just to hang out, I remember playing the remix. Well, I just finished this, and just so you know, this is supposed to be a la.
Yeah.
Duck Sauce started. Armand approached me with the idea of collaborating.
I don't do that many collabos. We had to become buddies.
Yeah.
And then we could start to get busy in the studio. You know what I'm saying? A-Trak came up with the direction. You came up with the direction.
Yeah.
I didn't really know.
I knew that it's something that we could do together.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you were I got a bunch of samples, so whatever.
Yeah, I do have a lot of vinyl and samples sitting around. So
for me, it's all right, cool. Let's do.
But he had the vision and the direction. It's something I was doing 10, 12 years ago, more than that. So maybe 15 years ago. So it's for me, it's oh yeah. I'm let's have fun. That's to me, that's having fun. It's not we were trying to create a whole new genre of music. We're just kind of let's bring back the good vibes of that time, and let's update it to now and see what happens.
Disco loop, house, or whatever, French Dutch-ish, but also some of your records from that era too. A lot of the records from that era, it's hard to play them in sets today, just because the sound mixes are so much bigger now. So it's all right, let's. That was kind of the aspect that would make it not sound like a throwback.
A-Trak kind of playing me stuff off his laptop, and it was the Mr. Oizo gate dentist and stuff
exactly.
He was playing me certain records, and I was freaking out because I'm yes, I'm that's it.
And then the Voodoo Chili record that I heard.
Basically
we had the direction of let's go for disco loops to kind of a Roule sort of Stardust direction. And I was trying to dig up a few recent records that updated that sound.
We probably committed to maybe 5 days, it seemed maybe 5 days of,
for 4 songs.
Maybe a couple hours, 4 or 5 hours, you know what I'm saying? But that's about it shouldn't ever be more than that.
Mixing them was harder than making them.
Yeah, when you borrow from records, that are mixed in the 70s, you have to I consider it a martial arts skill for you to make it sound amazing today. It's like a magician's trick, and we duck sauce ain't gonna give it up.
There's 4 songs that are keepers, right? And they all have a pretty unified sound, so I think they sound like duck sauce. It wasn't like one record that we studied, yo, how did he get this? It was sit down, listen to samples.
It was probably 20 records, right? We just kind of skipped through maybe 10 Roules and we just popped them on, well, we would discuss do you know that? A-Trak's yeah, I got that.
Yeah. Half bar loops, conversations about half bar loops.
Yeah, the half bar loop. Half bar loop is the magical, that's like a magic trick. Yeah. Right?
Anything is good.
Any disco half bar loop sounds great.
Yeah.
There's just no, any half bar is just, the chop on it just sounds amazing.
Yeah. Both of us have used a lot of names that are kind of stupid or don't mean much.
I had stuff I had Mecca Toast. I remember Mecca Toast. Somebody's like, what's Mecca Toast? I'm like, you tell me.
I like duck sauce though. I'm pretty happy with it. It's funny too because when I travel and I tell people about it, I have to explain it because it's such a New York thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we even realized it at first, but it's overseas they'll be like, what's duck sauce?
Yeah.
The one thing that made me quickly realize that this project was something that I was happy with and kind of excited to do more is as soon as we started finishing the songs and I would play them in my sets, it quickly became my favorite parts of my sets. Playing You're Nasty to a crowd that never heard it, it just always works. And then anyway, people start singing along to it, they already know the names, and they're like, I love the song. It's you don't know the song. It's not out yet.
Yeah.
So to get that feeling in my sets is a big part of what made me just get behind this project so much. Yeah. And I make a lot of tracks that I don't even play that much, or that I can't play at all my gigs because a lot of my stuff is a little bit more quirky and silly and little nuances, but these joints I can play in any night.
I don't think we're trying to make.
We're trying to get a radio hit.
No. It's definitely, we were trying to make songs that a DJ wants to play to make the crowd, we wanted to make, we were intentionally making party monsters. We weren't thinking let's be pseudo cool guys and make a loungy jam that a restaurant would play. We were thinking clubs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.